Hi, this is Norm Berry. I'm the wastewater superintendent for the town of Speedway. I'd like to call the Stormwater Management Board meeting for April 20th, 2017 to order. I'd like to introduce the rest, have everybody else introduce themselves.
Bob Staten.
Wanda Walters, Street Commissioner.
Jacob Blaisdell, Town Manager.
We do not have a quorum for this evening's meeting, but we did want to give the public an update on the dry run diversion drainage project. And we have with us this evening Brian Munier from Burke Engineering, and he's going to give us an update on the project and where we're headed from here. So Brian, thanks for coming.
Thank you. So as we discussed just a minute ago before the meeting, construction is essentially complete. We are finishing up the punch list in the coming weeks, and after that is completed, we'll be able to submit our hydraulic modeling and results to the Indiana Department of Natural Resources for review. Their review can take a number of months, depending on how many comments they have. It is a fairly complicated area, as you guys may know. So I would say a reasonable time frame there is probably around 3 months for IDNR's review. Following IDNR's review, there will be a public notice that goes out to all affected homeowners. So they'll receive notice that says that their status in the floodway or floodplain is changing, and how that's changing. So whenever we submit for the letter of map revision, that public notice goes out, and then FEMA begins their review. Their review can take up to usually around 90 days, but there's also a public appeal period. On more complicated situations, it can take between 6 months and a year before the LOMAR is finally approved. So that would be anywhere from 9 months to 15 months from now. The maps should be completely revised and everyone's status should be updated.
So the total time frame we're looking at here then possibly is like 3 months for IDNR, correct?
Correct.
And then anywhere from 6 to 15 months for FEMA.
I would say generally 6 to 12 months for FEMA.
6 to 12 months.
Yep.
So we're still looking at over a year away before we would get word on the FEMA map revision.
And depending on how much review FEMA does compared to DNR. So DNR is ultimately responsible for reviewing those, and many times FEMA looks at what their review noted and goes from there. So if the review goes smoothly with DNR, I would expect it to be more toward the 6-month time with FEMA.
And Brian, you guys had met with Marion County. They're all in agreement with everything that we've got accomplished and everything's in line to keep moving forward?
Correct. And they actually even elected to extend the LOMAR further upstream because the project that you guys have done and the updated modeling that we've completed to support that project actually benefits a portion of greater Indianapolis.
So could you explain a little bit about the actual project as far as the modeling, that, how successful does it look like that the project met the goals that we had set?
So in terms of the goals that we set, if you go way back to the preliminary engineering report, if I remember correctly, we are actually anticipating that we'll exceed the numbers of residents removed from the significant flood or the special flood hazard area. So in terms of success, I think it's wonderful. It's quite striking whenever you look at the map and see the difference in the number of homes that are in the special flood hazard area.
Brian, what kind of comments would you expect from IDNR or FEMA? I mean, technical comments about the way the modeling was done, or, I mean, you feel pretty comfortable, obviously.
Yeah, we've already obviously gotten our construction and a floodway permit that was necessary to construct the project. So DNR has seen a version of the model before, and they understand the complexity of the area, and it is quite a bit more complex than most situations because of the diversion channel and the fact that the water can actually take multiple paths through the area. So they've already covered the majority of their comments. We have had to make a few revisions to model the 500-year storm. So for the construction and a floodway permit is all contingent on the 100-year storm. But to get the model to accurately reflect the 500-year, we had to make a few revisions. And so those revisions would be areas that we might think we would see comments. And I would say the comments would probably be more clarification of, this is what you're saying is going on, this is how this is set up, this is why you did this. Not so much that we completely disagree with what you say. We don't anticipate those sorts of comments.
And the 500-year storm, there's no, I mean, that's, insurance is not required for the 500-year storm, correct?
No. Whenever you do a letter of map revision, if there was a previously mapped 500-year floodplain, you have to update that.
Okay.
So there was a previously mapped 500-year, so we have to include it. But it has no bearing on flood insurance. The only thing that comes to mind immediately that the 500-year is used for is for levy certification, and that obviously doesn't apply here. So.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Nothing else. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Brian. So what I'd like to do is I'll open up to the audience if anybody has any questions or for the board or for Brian. No? Okay, well, since we don't have a quorum, we will not have any official business of the board. So, Brian, again, thank you for coming and giving the update. And we will adjourn this meeting at 5:09. Thank you.